Hey guys, this is Locke. In this video, I'm going to do some tips and tricks on how to do the Grave of Rot. Now, this boss throws so many debuffs at you. He throws poison, he throws healing prevention, he throws recharge speed down, and a whole slew of other debuffs. And I think as you even go up in level, his attacks even get stronger, so he does even more damaging. Um, what is it called? Even more damaging debuffs on you. Like for example, at level 6, he only throws um, what's it called? He only throws healing reduction, so you can still do 50% healing. But at level 7 and above, he does healing prohibition, so zero healing at all, which is even worse, right? So the best way to beat this boss is to bring obviously some cleansers to get rid of all these negative effects, and also to bring debuff immunity. Unfortunately, there is very limited units that provide AOE debuff immunity. If you take a look, there's only say 5 epics, and most of these epics only provide single target debuff immunity. I think the only two that provide AOE debuff immunity is Catherine and Thea. And if you have both, this fight will go a lot easier for you. But if you don't have them, I mean, what can you do? They're not rares; they're pretty hard to get, especially for free-to-play players. So there must be another way to beat this boss, and thankfully there is. There was actually I was planning to build something myself to show you, but it's going to take quite a bit of investment for me to do that because my gold is low. As you can see, I only have 1 million gold left, and I have to build the correct pieces to show you. So instead, I thought I would just show you another player doing this because he's done it quite well. And especially at level 6 and below, it's quite easy to do his method. So what he did, and he actually didn't even use any legendaries, so it's even better. You can do this with virtually anyone. You just need to bring you need to bring her, Enna, or any other cleanser, which is what she does on her ultimate. She dispels one debuff from all allies, and one is enough. You don't even need to bring someone that dispels everything. She is quite good. And you can also bring her as well, Hexandra, which removes on her battle skill one debuff from a single ally. That's enough. And the reason why that is enough is because what this guy built instead of bringing a debuff immunity unit was to raise the resistance on all the units. And you might think that that's kind of hard, but actually it's really not. Let's take a look at Enna, for example. So with just this piece, one single piece, you're getting 80 resistance. That's quite a lot, right? Um, she only has an additional 111, so minus the 80, that's only 31 more resistance. You don't have to go looking crazy for it, you know? You probably just can have like a single piece with some more resistance. There you go. This piece has 23 resistance, and that's it. So just these two pieces. You don't have to go hunting for very high resistance on every single piece. You don't have to do that. Maybe there's a little bit of resistance. Yeah, there's 8 resistance here as well. So that's really it. Like making sure that you have one chess piece with 80 resistance is key, because that's what he did for all the units here. As you can see, every single unit here has 80 resistance, and that's not too hard to get, I think. I hope. The tank did not. The tank is focused fully on health and defense, and the reason for that is because you still have to survive the boss's ultimate. But other than that, especially I did some testing with a single unit. I found that if you have more than 130 resistance, you're able to resist the boss's debuffs often. Now 130 might seem like quite high, but again, it's not. As I said, you're getting 80 just from this, and you get 20 from the food. I'll show you his battle so you can see that that you get 20 more resistance from this from the food that he ate. So that's already 100 resistance. So you just have to find 30 more resistance from some pieces here and there, and you can make it. Of all the units here, the one that has the lowest resistance is Sigrid. Sigrid had 91 resistance, and with the additional food, that makes it 111. So when we go into the fight, you'll see that she's the only one that gets debuffs. Not even all the time, but sometimes. Now the boss is going to cast 2 debuffs, and Sigrid gets hit with 1. Everyone else, except for the tank is going to get hit with a lot of debuffs, but everyone else resisted fairly easily. Now this guy is also playing manually to try to make sure that he's using Sigrid's ultimate when the boss is going to use its ultimate, so that you can apply healing prevention and also provide the attack down debuff as well. So the boss, um, you know, doesn't do so much damage to your tank. And also, I mean, whenever the boss does his ultimate, he also heals himself, right? So by bringing a unit that can do healing probation, uh, and casting it when the boss is about to take its turn, that will significantly make this fight a lot more easier. But other than that, with the resistance on you, uh, as you can see, you're not getting hit by debuffs often, like very very few times, except for the tank, as I said. So just bringing, you know, Anna, which would clear debuffs from everybody once, and even Hexandra, which would dispel one debuff from any one unit. That's usually enough to beat this. I mean, it was enough for this guy, right? And he's not bringing anything crazy. He didn't even bring a single legendary. So you should probably be able to replicate this without too much trouble. And the key units here is really Hexandra and Enna, which are both rares. So it should not be too hard to bring. Um, Other things that I would recommend that you bring is somebody with an attack down debuff, so that whenever the boss casts his ultimate, um, the ultimate does less damage. As you can see, the healing is based on the amount of damage that you do. So if the boss does 50% less damage, the healing that it gets is reduced by 50. Also, if you can bring some healing probation, that's very good as well. And Sigrid is actually a perfect unit for this, because on Sigrid's ultimate, you get both the the heal prohibition and the attack penalty as well, both those debuffs. So casting that skill right before the boss takes his ultimate will go a long way in helping you to get this fight done more and more easily. Um, Other than that, I mean, honestly, there isn't really much else to say. You can bring about just about any DPS that you want. Uh, and you can bring any tank. I mean, everyone should have the free horse that you get on the third day, but you don't have to bring him. You can bring someone else as well if you want. You just have to be able to survive. You have to make sure that your tank has enough HP and defense to survive the boss's attacks, but it doesn't hit as hard as, for example, the Harpy boss. So it should be a lot easier to survive that compared to some of the other bosses in the game, just on the damage wise. Um, Oh, another note that I want to make is, if you bring a unit that can shield itself, again, like Horus, whenever the boss uh, bites down on the shield, instead, so he's not actually doing the damage on your health. So its healing is again significantly reduced. So if your tank has shields, like Horus does, again, it will help you to end this fight faster because the boss doesn't recover as much HP. So that's really all the things that I want to say here. Um, because that's, if you don't have Thea and you don't have Catherine, that's the easiest way to go about this. Just do the resistance. Now, if you notice that he hasn't been able to do the level 7 lineup, especially the people that have been able to do it are, legendary heavy. Myself, I was able to do it because I was lucky enough to get both Catherine and Thea. And again, there's going to be very few people that are able to do that. So, you know, for everyone else, you will probably have to now start investing in specific resistance gears, because you need even more than 130. You might need maybe like 150, 170 resistance. So now it starts to get into quite a stat check. So at that point, you will start to, need real resistance gears. Uh, Also, the debuff that the boss will cast at level 7 and above is healing prohibition. So you need to really get this off. If you don't, your team will die. So at this point, this becomes, a lot more harder to do than level 6 and below, because level 6 and below, even if the boss gets that debuff on you, it's healing reduction, not healing prohibition, which we can see right here. So even if you don't get it off, you're still getting 50% of healing. And a lot of times that's quite a bit of healing that you can still survive. There was another guy that I found who did a different strategy, which I think is a bit harder to pull off. But that's what he did, and it worked for him. So I'm going to show you that as well. So he used Garius as the tank. This one. So he also didn't bring any legendaries, but he used this Garius as a tank, and Garius has very high defense. He invested everything into defense. All the pieces here is providing defense. This is providing an additional 21% of defense, and his captain skill is also increasing defense. So basically, he has a ton of defense, and with that, I mean, you can see the rest of the team. They don't even have such high resistance. They have a little bit, but like this guy has 20 resistance, um, zero, like 18 that you start with, and 19 resistance. But the healing is just so high that he is able to heal the whole team all the time with Garius. So this is how this guy did it. And if you have Garius, maybe you can accomplish something similar too. But take a look. So he lands all the debuffs. Everyone is taking damage. But Garius, he's playing manually with Garius, by the way. But Garius just has so much healing that he is able to heal the whole team. With, like, you can see. Uh, so when Garius does this heal, and then he does it, like everyone healed for like 13 to 20. Like he healed himself for about 28,000 HP, I think, and he healed everyone else for about 15,000 HP. So he's bringing he's bringing Garius and Hexandra, and between the two of them, there's just so much healing going on that even with the reduced healing and the poison debuffs and everything, he can just kind of shrug it off and just keep fighting. And he is able to, use that and defeat the boss. So if you don't want to invest in resistance gears, even if it's just one piece, this might be a way to go instead. And this is not going to work past level 7 because that's going to be healing prohibition, and so you're getting zero healing. So you can't do that. But for level 6 and below, you can also beat this boss by just bringing a lot of healing, especially Garius, because he does a ton of healing, and do the boss that way. So that's 3 different ways you can do this. The first one, as I mentioned, the easiest one, if you happen to have the correct units, is Catherine and Thea, bringing them together and making sure you have immunity on your units all the time. The second way, the easiest way, is to bring one piece of resistance gear and make everyone's resistance higher than 130. And the third way, especially for level 6 and below, you can bring units that do a ton of healing and basically out heal the boss's damage. So that's it for this video. I hope these tips helped. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, and I'll do my best to get back to you. Take care, guys. I'll see you later.